Da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. Hey, hello, and welcome. I am doing my own theme music every day, every episode, until my daughter writes me a theme song. Welcome to Radical Change Leadership. This is the podcast all about the leader within. This is all about leadership and leading from within. A lot of us have been conditioned, have been programmed into believing that leadership is a group activity, that leadership is somebody else's job, that leadership is not necessarily something that, is in our sights as something that we are aspiring to do. But I want to flip that for you. I want to flip that for you. And I want you to know that if you make decisions about anything for yourself or other people, you are a leader. And that those people out there in the world that we call so-called leaders, whoever they are, whether it's government, business, politics, or whatever, we can't have no influence on those people whatsoever. Our influence is within. Our influence is within. And today, I want to talk about the loneliness of leadership. I want to talk about the loneliness of leadership because I realize a little bit more each day that leadership is lonely, but also it is important to embrace this solo journey. Have you ever felt like walking the path of leadership alone, even when you're surrounded by others? Like you're walking it by yourself. What if I told you that leadership, at its core, it is a solo journey, and you are the only one to navigate it? Only you. Only you. A lot of times people think leadership is, okay, all of us together, we get to lead this thing, this committee, this team, this government, this, nope. The real work is done internally. The real work to change anything, it only is within you. If you grew up ever going to church and you remember around Christmas time, let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. Peace is change. Leadership is about self-leadership, self-control. Because relying on other people for validation will only delay or derail what you're trying to do. It's only going to derail or delay what you're trying to do. Perfect example. 4 years, and I mean probably going on 20 years. I actually a little longer than that, going on 30 years. I have been coaching leaders one-on-one, executive teams, organizations, right? And doing a lot of one-on-one coaching in the background with people at various levels. And the one thing that many of those people have lacked has been the ability to have self-awareness. The ability to have self-awareness. And people don't realize how their lack of self-awareness is one of the reasons that they are afraid to do things alone. If you don't know yourself, you don't trust yourself. If you don't trust yourself, I don't know if you can love yourself. I believe that the knowledge, love, and trust of self has to be wrapped up into one thing. And that one thing is your self-concept. And that self-concept sets you apart as who you are as a leader. A leader in your own life. Now, if you're a parent, okay, you got to lead in more ways than that. If you have a job such as a teacher or a supervisor of any type, you got to do a little bit more. But for those of us who only have to take care of ourselves, we're in the best spot. If you only have to take care of you and you don't have to take care of anyone else, you're in the best spot. Period. If you have to take care of children, whether minor or adult, Your spot is hard. And your spot, if you are a parent, requires your healing. And we're going to talk a lot more about healing as your job, as your first job. As a parent, healing is your first job. As a child, healing is your first job. As a so-called friend, healing is your first job. As a boss, healing is your first job. As a colleague, as any type of leader, healing is your first job. We don't get to heal in this society because our society says, well, it's, you need to cope with what happened to you. And here's all these different mechanisms for you to cope instead of process that pain. And we rely on our addictions. We rely on our addictions to distract and derail us from healing. Period. And until we decide that we are not going to just continue down that path, and we decide that we're going to move towards a more empowered, a more authentic, a more curious, a more empathetic version of ourselves. Unless we make that a purposeful mission, it's going to be difficult. Today, I want to give us 4 points. I like to call them the 4 M's for radical change leadership that are all about your personal growth, your personal evolution. The only way I believe that you can take this solo journey and be successful is through this 4M process. And the 4M process is your mindset, managing your mindset, making sure that your mindset is on positive, forward-focused things, making sure your mindset is only on the things that you want, not the things you don't want. Secondarily, your message, your self-talk, making sure that your self-talk is always motivational, making sure that your self-talk is always mindset oriented towards what is the results you're trying to get. Making sure that your self-talk is always purposeful. The third thing is your emotions. Having emotional regulation or being able to manage your mood. So first we manage in our mind, then we manage in our message, now we manage in our mood. That means having emotional regulation. That means loving ourselves and knowing how to care for ourselves such that we can manage our emotions, that we never too high, too low, that we never going off or suppressing and depressing ourselves, but that we're staying functional, we're staying involved emotionally, we're staying present in whatever thing we are in, we present in that moment. And that we don't get mad when our brains wander, when our minds get distracted. We just keep on doing the same thing because we know that we are growing and changing and learning. And then finally is movement. Movement means being intentional about your behaviors and actions. Making intentional movement about what you do. Doing what you do on purpose so that it can have meaning. Doing what you do on purpose so that it has meaning. So if that means that, look, you have some friends that you can't really be involved with because they do heroin and you just not with that program, it's perfectly fine to walk away. They might call you a square and say, well, lucky you got it all together. And maybe you don't have it all together either. But you just decided that that's not the crowd you want to be around. That's okay. Maybe you are around a bunch of people that, have food addictions. And they're constantly eating fast food out. Oh, I'll meet you here. I'll meet you there. I'll meet you here. I'll meet you there. You know, oh, it's dollar taco night. It's dollar this. It's dollar that. But, you know, they spending $1 here and there on tacos and margaritas or whatever. Meanwhile, you know, gaining 25 pounds a year, severely overweight, depressed, and, you know, struggling with knee pain and arthritis. Whatever the circumstance, you decide you want to do something different and you start to take action, it's going to be lonely because there's going to be always somebody there trying to keep you where you are. It's going to always be somebody there that doesn't care if you grow or learn. It's going to always be somebody there that is happy with their status quo. And when they see you grow or heal or learn, they're going to feel threatened. And if you try to grow, learn, or heal in front of a narcissist, forget about it. It's not going to happen. So again, leadership has the potential to be lonely. So let's talk about how do you navigate this loneliness? How do you navigate this solo journey? First of all, I want you to see loneliness or being alone as a gift. Because when you are alone, you can focus solely on yourself. You can focus on how you want to think. How you want to think about yourself. How you want to think about the world. What you want to think about. You get to think to develop the mindset of a champion. The mindset of a leader. The eye of the tiger. You get to develop it in your own mind's eye. Right? Number 2. When you are alone, you get to control the message. The message that comes in, the message that comes out, the message that you focus on. You get to select it for yourself, free from the interference of somebody that only wants to manipulate you. You get a manipulation-free message when you have your own. Next, you get to have emotional flexibility, vulnerability, balance, and nuance. You get to be whoever you are and experience the full range of emotions when you are alone, and you don't have to worry about anybody. You get to cry, laugh, be mad, be sad, be indifferent. You get to be and do whatever you want when nobody is around, and it's the best. You don't have to cry in the shower. You can, but you don't have to. You can cry in person, on your couch, in your living room, by your fireplace, in your kitchen, on your bicycle, in your backyard, on your Pilates reformer, in the bed. You can cry wherever you want. You can have any kind of emotions you want. You can talk out loud. You can have a whole ass conversation with yourself and answer yourself back. You can speak in broken English, broken Spanish, Spanglish, whatever, and be free. And I'm telling you, do not underestimate that gift. And finally, you get to move. You get to move your mindset. You get to move your body. You get to move your money. You get to move anything you want. You get to move when you're on a solo journey. And you get to make progress unlike you could ever do when you have other people you have to take care of. Now, I want to talk about loneliness and being alone Just because you are alone, you do not have to be lonely. If you love yourself, trust yourself, know yourself, like yourself, you will find company in yourself. If you are just getting to that point where you're just getting to know yourself, just getting to learn yourself, just getting to like yourself, and you need support, what I'm going to do is I'm going to recommend you turn on music that makes you feel good. And if you don't have any because you didn't grow up around music, piano sonatas are a nice place to start. Turn on some pink noise. Look for happy megahertz. Look for healing megahertz and listen to that. Or look for music from your childhood that made you happy. For me, it's, Switch, Luther Vandross, Funkadelic, Commodores, Earth, Wind, and Fire, Stevie Wonder for sure. That just made me happy, And if I'm feeling in some kind of way and I need that pick me up, hey, there we go. But the idea is I don't ever really feel lonely. I just may feel sad. And I may feel sad because I let my mindset stay there for too long. If you let anything happen for more than, I think they say 18 seconds, it's easy to get stuck there. So don't be sad for more than 18 seconds. Tell yourself, hey, you know what? Let that pass and move on to the next thing, right? Get a happy thought, right? Don't worry. Be happy, right? Even in the midst of things that might not be going your way. Even when you're not sure about when things are going to get better. You can tell yourself that things are better. You can state your affirmations. I'm abundant. I'm brilliant. I'm compassionate. I am daring. I am excellent. I am fantastic, right? You can start doing your own affirmations and change your mindset whenever you want, even though it might take practice. But again, right, you get to move and make progress. One of the advantages to making progress is having that time where all you're doing is focusing on yourself. I can't even tell you how much I appreciate being able to do that because I've been able to grow by leaps and bounds, and it's helped me to do things, get ideas, plans, strategies, clear out clutter that I wouldn't be able to do if I was focused on managing somebody else's emotional needs, somebody's physical needs. It's really important that we focus on healing ourselves as our first priority, our first area of focus, so that we can really be the leader that we want. Lead from within by focusing on yourself and being okay with being lonely, being okay with being alone, because you're going to progress so much more in every single thing than if you're trying to buddy up with somebody. I had a client who was working on some issues, and there were some other people that were working on issues at the same time, and they were in a group, and these other people fell off. And because the other people fell off, the other person decided that, they would just stop because somebody else stopped. And then they got to a really, really, really bad place. But fortunately, they found a parachute. And that parachute really kept them from hitting the all the way rock bottom. And now they're in a position where they're at a crossroads of decision. And I think decision should always be in support of yourself, prioritizing your wellness and your future, and not prioritizing the right now. And If I could give advice to anybody that they didn't ask for, but that they definitely need, is that if you can prioritize your health and start loving yourself enough to treat your body in a better way by just stopping one harmful thing, cutting back on one harmful thing. If you drink 6 beers a day, can you cut back to 4 just for this week? And then next week, cut back to 3. And then next week, cut back to 2. And then next week, cut back to 1. Would you be willing to do that for yourself? If not, the answer or the question is, why not? Why don't you love yourself enough? Yes, addiction is powerful, but love is even more powerful. Your addiction isn't your fault. You are addicted to whatever you are addicted to, if you are addicted to something, because it satisfies a need in you. It satisfies something that is a hole. Let's fill that hole. Let's talk about that hole and heal that pain. Whether you do it one-on-one or in a small group, that is the key to you having a better future, is being able to process that pain. Listen, when you're ready, I want you to download the Radical Change Leadership app and schedule your 15-minute free coaching consultation so that you can start to make some progress on this stuff. Is it your mindset? Is it your message? Is it your mood? Or is it your movement? Where do you need motivation? Your self-talk? The way you're thinking? What you're doing? What you're feeling? All of those things are connected. And the radical change that you need for anything that you want to see in the external world, it starts within. And it's based on a desire for the transformation. That's the thing that's either going to take you forward or keep you stuck. Yes, this solo road can be lonely, but it doesn't have to be. It can be focused, it can be accelerated, and it can be fantastic. Growth, change, and empowerment, it's nothing like it. And I want to encourage you to embrace that radical change from within and focus on results over resolutions and purpose over promises. Thanks so much for hanging out. I'll see you next time on Radical Change Leadership. Take care, y'all. Go to radicalchangeleadership.org to learn more, to download the app, and to support our mission.